musical interlude there. I can't let that play or I'll get a copyright strike. If you guys know what that is, then you do. If you don't want to know. Anyhow, I started cutting this panel out and realized I didn't cut the camera on, so if you want to see more cutting metal, then here you go. So I'm making the last couple of cuts here. Get that radio speaker panel out. You probably can't see too well. You can see a little bit. Anyway, here we go. Yeehaw. Let me show you what I've done did. I got that from somebody, so whoever you are, I apologize for ripping off your stick. Okay. There's the radio panel cut out. I cut it out in this shape for particular reasons. Number one, this panel is going to warp when I weld it. There's no doubt about it. It's got a little bit of shape to it, a little bit of curve, but it's still going to warp. So it's not completely flat, but it's still going to warp. And when you weld flat sheet metal, if you weld in the corners, if you weld them up to a sharp 90-degree corner, let's say that was a 90-degree corner, or this was, metal will really shrink and pinch, and that makes your shrinking and warping even worse. So if you can, try to cut, on an angle in the corners. The wider the better. Like here, I was able to cut it back this far. I couldn't cut it any much bigger than this here because I was trying to avoid, you see, where I cut right on the edge of the first slot there. Also in the back, this panel goes down. See, goes down and then it has a small up curve. That up curve is right along in here, and it starts right along in here. So I did not want to have to bend my new panel down and do the up curve too. So I cut back up here. I would have cut a little farther down just to get closer to the edge for more strength, but I didn't want, like I said, I didn't want to have to make that second bend or third bend if it winds up being that way. So I just wind up cutting it right there, and of course I angle cut the corner. So my new piece will be cut obviously like this. So where's my ruler? And I'm certain right now, I've already checked that's flat for sure. I mean, obviously it's going to be flat across here, but there is some crown over towards the edge. You can see it right there. This side doesn't really have any. The further I get back, there is some crown again over on this side. So more than likely there is a little bit of crown this way. So what I'm probably going to do, well, what I know I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and cut an oversized patch panel, and I'll come back and trim it later. I'm going to go ahead and cut my oversized patch panel, and I'm going to get the curve in it this way. And that'll be pretty easy to do with a pipe, however everybody decides to bend it. If I had to crown it the other way, I'm probably going to wind up going ahead and getting my English wheel. Because doing it by hand would just be a nightmare. It can be done. And I need to learn English wheel anyway. I haven't done any English wheel work yet, so starting on something small would obviously be a good thing to do. I've got some big English wheel projects planned, mostly for that Model A. So the more practice I can get now on smaller stuff, obviously the better I'll be. And the other thing I'm noticing while I'm here, let me grab my flashlight. This is just an incidental piece of knowledge, I guess. While I got this cut out, I'm going to shoot OSPO metal protectant or rust killer, both, all back up in here behind this dash. The dash is not really rusty, honestly. I was expecting it to be a lot worse. Of course, here's my console where I welded in. Got some rust on top of the weld. But back along in here is not all that rusty. So anyway, I'm going to spray OSPO all back up in here best I can. Might even do some behind the speaker insert, the original speaker inserts. Maybe down in my tweeter holes too, which you can't see. Just to kind of get as much rust, you know, encapsulated, converted, whatever words you want to use for that phosphoric. Is it phosphoric acid? Whatever that stuff's got in it. So you can see down in there too. So that's something I'll be doing before I get everything finished welded, or I start welding actually, and then shoot some primer. Probably just use spray can primer. I don't really have any. Well, maybe I will use spray gun. I got to prime the dash when I finish it up. So I guess I won't be wasting primer, epoxy primer, two-part primer. Thank you for words are tough. So anyway, next thing I'm going to be doing is making this patch panel, and we'll go from there. Okay, I sprayed OSPO all back up in here best I could. I ran out, but I got everything in the center here that I need to get. The very edges that I'll have access to later, I'll probably have to spray some more in there. But I got the bulk of it. Let it dry overnight now. And I wiped down as much of the residue as could. The thing about that OSPO is, you just spray it and leave it. I see some more right there. It turns to a chalky residue, which you have to sand off, or the best way to do it is to hit it with OSPO again, because the only thing I found that'll break OSPO residue off once it's dry is more OSPO. Basically more acid. So I always try to wipe the residue down. If it's something like this, a primed surface, I wiped it down best I could. It's still probably going to leave a residue on some of it, but locally this is all going to get sanded again before I prime it. And if I find some spots like the dash, for example, where I'll definitely be wiping OSPO again, that'll take, I'm just showing the camera and the floor, that'll definitely take care of that. And then the final stage before you prime is wipe it down with OSPO, metal prep, and then rinse it with water. I remember using PPG metal prep back in the 80s, a long time ago. We always rinsed it with the metal prep, or washed it with the metal prep, and then rinsed it with water. That was how PPG told you to do it. And it's basically the same stuff, still phosphoric acid, right? If I'm not, you guys will remind me. I see a spot here I got to get later. That's not, I didn't hit because I ran out. Anyway, I wipe this residue up best I can. It's going to dry overnight. I got to stop now and go take care of some other things. So I won't be back on this project till tomorrow. So that's all for now. I'll come back tomorrow. I won't end the video, I don't think, because there's not a lot here yet going on. So I'll come back tomorrow when I got the patch panel made, and we'll continue on. Alright, I got my piece made here to patch the dash with. I put some reference lines on it for me. I don't know if these will, I don't know, we'll see if I need them or not. Definitely want them. First thing I'm going to do is put the curve in it, round it. I'm going to use this piece of pipe, basically what like a pipe handle would do. So I'm just going to lay it on here. This is what I'm using the lines for, so I can bend it straight. I don't want to bend it, have the angle bend across it crooked, the curve rather. So I'm just going to do a little bit of light bending here by hand, and then see what it needs as far as getting it to fit the curve with the dash. That's already very close. I don't have, if you're familiar with the English wheel, you can use a rubber band on the wheel, and it'll make a curve that's in one plane. It won't make a crown, it just makes a curve, basically rolls it. And if I had the right die and a rubber wheel, rubber band, I could try it, but I don't have those yet. I've got to get those. I don't have them. All I've got is that one die that came with the wheel. That's very. I'm very close. I've been in a couple spots. Surprise. That's very easy to do. Need to put a little bit of bend in the back side. I'm just taking small bends. Obviously, and just going and checking it on my dash. And these bends are really small. I could have made this panel without a wheel, but it's got a slight amount of crown into it. I want to be able to put the crown into it with the wheel, and it's a good practice. Alright, except for the front edge, which is going to need a little help from my dolly, or from a hammer. That fits pretty darn good. Alright, here's my patch panel I just made and bent. I honestly could use this. I mean, I could use this the way it is. But as I said, I know, where's my ruler? I know there's a little bit of crown in this because of the way the ruler falls off. And the back falls off. The front's pretty flat, but I know there's some crown in the middle. Now I could weld this in and just put the crown in with filler, or not even put the crown in it. But I want to put a little bit of crown into it just to try it. That does fit really nice. I mean, you just watch me bend it up with a piece of pipe. I mean, pretty good. And I'll use these lines, as I said, as reference lines when I was bending. Now I'm going to wheel using the same lines and try to put some crown, you know, in the center of it, right along in this area right here, and see what happens. If I screw it up, then I screw it up. But I won't be able to learn till I try. I'm going to try and go real slow too, which I normally do anyway, which may bore some of you to death, but hey, here's what it is. Let me get set up and we'll see what happens. Alright folks, this is my first time ever using an English wheel, so wish me luck. I don't want to screw this up in front of you guys. By the way, I did clean my wheels off. I've just got minimal pressure on here. At least what I think is minimal anyway. And I'm telling you what, the guys do this, they make it look easy. This is not easy to do. I gotta learn to track the damn wheel. Huh, it wants to, that's weird. There we go. Gotta learn to this is the trick. Huh. I have very little pressure on here. I know you're supposed to be, see, I gotta learn. Okay, that goes that way. Now remember, I don't want to be in this curve. That's the wrong way. This goes this way. Okay. And then, alright, there we go. Gotta learn the combination of this thing. kind of backwards is the way my mind's trying to say it works. Oops. Oops, wrong way. Dadgummit. Alright, first off, it is twisted a little bit, but that's twist I put in it when I made it. Okay, so, and there's no crown, not yet. I gotta figure out how to track this thing. That goes that way. It's muscle memory, I'm sure, and brain memory. Damn, I did it again. Right hand and left hand in. Alright, let's get a little more pressure. I'm still doing it wrong. I can't. No, there. Oh, I gotta watch videos of guys doing this because I am sucking at this badly. I cannot make this thing do anything that I want it to do. Let me come back when I figure out how to track this damn thing. Okay. I did succeed in putting some crown in the panel. You can see the ruler. That was flat when I started. I did that. It wasn't there before. And it gets flat and stays flat on the front, which is what I wanted. So I succeeded in putting the crown in the panel. Of course, you see it bent this way. Lesson learned, this shit ain't easy. Pardon my French. Let me loosen this wheel. These guys that sit there and just stand there and do this for hours at a time, I guess it's muscle memory, because I can't do that. I had to sit here and just think about which way to turn this thing in order to get it to turn. It looked like to me on the videos, you can just make these things slide back and forth. Oh, it don't work that way. Obviously, it makes sense when you think about it, because you got this bottom die's got a crown, and the top die's, flat. Well, that pinch point, you can't just take stuff and wiggle it back and forth at a pinch point like that. I never thought about it. Watching those guys sitting here doing this, and of course, they're also working longer panels, which I would assume makes it easier because you got more room. I'm trying to turn right here in this little area and stay in this one little spot. So I guess my first experience with a wheel, it was a success. It was a success. I made the crown that I wanted. But I got a lot of practicing to do with that wheel. Not that I thought I wouldn't. But it's not as easy as those guys make it look like on all the videos. So, but first English wheel project was a success. I'd call it a success. So next thing we'll do is welding it in the welding it in the cab. Thank you. I'm gonna call this video here. We're basically gonna call this English wheel beginner dumb stuff what not to do crap stuff thing. So as usual, thanks for watching. Thanks for looking in. I hope you watch me laugh at me making an idiot of myself with a damn English wheel. But I'll learn. I'll get there. I'm hard-headed. I'm stubborn. I'll figure it out. So I hope to see you next time. Hope you like what you're seeing. Stick around. Wait for the next video. Hit the bell, the notification. I'll do all the things. And I'll catch you on the flip side. See you later. Well, all right, I did it. I bought the English wheel. This is the Harbor Freight one. I'm sure a lot of you people, I'm sure a lot of you guys have been interested in one of these are well aware of the Harbor Freight English wheel. It's not a small machine at all. In case you don't already know, let's see. There's a tape measure. It's got a 20-something, 26, 28-inch throat. That's not small. The height here is like 20 inches. This is way bigger than those benchtop machines you see advertised from certain companies I won't name, because I don't need to, you know, that's not why I'm here. I think I paid $379 for it at Harbor Freight, which I know is more than a lot of y'all have paid in the past. Whereas, you know, prices have gone up, blah, blah, blah. But if I was going to build one from scratch, I don't think I could buy the steel this cheap anymore right now. The way prices of steel are through the damn roof. I've looked a lot on YouTube. I haven't really seen anybody say anything bad about this wheel. Even some of the guys that are pros that have all the big expensive, you know, thousands of dollars equipment, really haven't said anything bad about this machine for people that are starting out, which is what I'm doing. It's the 8-inch wheel. Only a 2-inch wide wheel, obviously. And I've only got one anvil, which is, I forget the radius. I'll mention later what radius this is. So first thing I got to do before I do any real projects other than this little speaker thing is buy some more anvils. But anyway, I've been wanting one of these for years, so I finally got one. It's another tool I can cross off my wish list. Man, if 25-year-old me had one of these things, oh, the things I could have done. But anyway, I'll just set up the camera and do a time lapse putting it together. That's probably boring, but I'll just do it. What the heck? So hang on. Like I said, I'll just time lapse putting this thing together, whether anybody actually watches it or not. But anyway, let's start putting it together. Alright, let's stop right here. See me struggling with this shaft here. This is the first piece of bad machining I've come across. Now, bolt holes and brackets, yeah, they can all be off. So far it was really good, but this piece right here, this shaft, is not, the shaft's okay. The hole it goes in, the bore, is really, really terrible. I mean, I'm going to use that word because it's terrible. There's burrs, the machining is horrible, it's nasty, it's bad. I should go ahead and fix it, but I'm trying to get this damn thing together because I want to use it. So I'm trying not to get frustrated here, but this thing is about, it's about to piss me off. Be nice about it. What it does is it's got a set screw back here that with a taper point that guides this shaft so you raise it up and down and it can't spin. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that either. It's just this shaft is machined, or the bore is machined horribly. It's just terrible. The fitment is terrible. I hate to talk bad about your Harbor Freight, but that's the one place I'm going to ding you because this thing is terrible. I'll fix it. I'll smooth it out with something, whether I'll do it, whatever it winds up being. But that's you told me to put some white lube on it. That helped a small amount, but not really. It's terrible. I got to get in there and clean it out with something. I'll figure out what later. So far, I'm still missing the shaft that goes in the bottom, the adjustment shaft. So there we go. And this deal put together. You freaking high.